Okay. Hi, everybody. I haven't been here for a while. Welcome to our YouTube channel. I guess I'm live today and I'm just going to show you our newest kit, the Veri Peri earrings kit that we made in celebration of Pantone's 2022 color of the year, Veri Peri. It's just, I guess, like a periwinkle color. And so this kit was put together in the spirit of Veri Peri. Where am I? Am I on the, oh, here. Here we go. So it's got periwinkle shades in handmade check lampwork beads here and here, and German pressed glass flowers. So I'm here to show you how to make these earrings today, plus a couple of other ideas that you can do with the beads in the kit. Am I even live? I am. Okay. All right. So, anybody out there, you can say hi. I will say hi to you right now. And so this Veri Peri earring, the technique that you'll need to do is called basic wire wrap. Okay. And so that'll be the cutter. You need a cutter. You will need a chain nose plier, flat nose plier, and a round nose plier. There we go. So we do have this basic wire wrap tutorial as a full video on our YouTube channel, which is right here. So you can just search our channel after this live and check it out if you need to see something more in detail. Okay, so the kit includes a foot of wire. We're using 24 gauge sterling silver wire. It has 2 of each kind of beads. So we have these oval silver lined handmade check lampwork beads and these sort of sugar style flat oval handmade check lampwork beads, and these German pressed glass leaves. It also comes with 2 1.5 inch 24 gauge ball head pins and a pair of sterling silver ear wires. So all of the supplies in the kit are sterling silver and glass. Okay. So I'm going to start off by showing you how to do one side of the earring, and then I'm going to show you some variations you can do with the supplies for the other half. Okay, let's see. So we're going to set aside 3 of the beads here and put that on the side, and I have my 1 foot of wire. Whenever you do wire wrap or whatever, you want to not pre-cut all of your wire into the sections that you're going to be wrapping. You want to work with a comfortable length of wire just so you don't waste, because if you pre-cut your wire into, say, like 4 different sections to wrap the 4 beads that are going to need to be linked together, you're going to be ending up wasting a lot of wire. So we want to save wire. Therefore, we're not going to cut it until we need to. Okay, so I'm going to start off by showing you how to do this earring style. Okay, so this earring, it takes pretty much just like a wire wrap here with a head pin, so that's a single loop, and it's going to also take 2 beads that need 2 loops, 1 loop on each end to link things together, and we're going to link it together with a 24 gauge wire. Okay, so I'm going to start off. When I make earrings, I usually start off from the bottom of the earring and build my way up towards the ear wire. Okay, so I strung my head pin through my leaf. Then I'm going to get my chain nose plier and make a 90-degree angle. Then I'm going to sandwich that wire with the round nose plier and bring the wire up, over, and around to make about half of a loop, then I'm going to switch to the bottom jaw and complete my loop here and roll forward. Okay. Now there's a little bit of a tip here. So I don't like this large space between my loop and my bead, so I'm going to roll it just a little bit closer. And that's just to adjust the distance. But notice that I have more of a P shape now instead of a lollipop, so I'm going to get my chain nose plier, put it back in my loop, and rebend my angle. Okay. So it got a little bit closer. That way I don't have to do so many wraps to close my loop and touch the top of the bead. Okay. Then to wrap it shut, I like to hold the loop with my flat nose plier like this, and we're just going to try to keep the tail perpendicular to the wire that's coming out of the bead, and we're just going to do coils until we reach the top of the leaf, okay, which is about 2 reps. And we're going to trim our tail. Always cover the tip of your wire with your finger so the wire doesn't go flying. And you can tuck down the little wire that's sticking out a little bit with your chain nose plier just to clean it up. Okay, and so we have our wire wrapped leaf, which is the bottom drop of the earring. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Cynthia. Okay. Now I'm going to do the second link of our earring. So this is going to be a wire wrap on each side of my bead. And I'm going to do a 90-degree angle. Again, sandwich the wire with the round nose pliers. Go up, over, and around. Like so. You can open the loop just a little bit like opening a door. And we're going to hook on the leaf. Don't forget to attach your leaf at this point. And I'm going to pinch as much of the loop that I can with my chain nose plier, or you can switch to the flat nose. And we're going to coil this tail. I usually like to do just like 1 time around, but to match the amount on the leaf, I'm going to do 2. And then we're going to just trim the excess wire away. Again, cover the wire with your finger and tuck it down. Here we go. So you have to kind of decide which way you want your next loop to face. I'm going to have it go perpendicular to the first loop that I made on this bead. And again, grab the wire right on top of the bead with your chain nose plier and make a 90-degree angle. Sandwich the wire with your round nose pliers and pull up, over, and around. Switch to the bottom jaw and complete your loop. Again, I don't like the space, so I'm just going to roll it a little bit closer. So when you have your loop nice and centered, that's when you can wrap it shut. I'm going to grab it with my flat nose plier, cover as much of the loop as I can, and coil. There you go. And we're going to trim again with our flush cutter and tuck down anything that's sticking out with the chain nose pliers. one more bead I'm going to do. So here we have the wire again, and I'm going to do another 90-degree angle. Switch to the round nose plier. This. Okay, and then we're going to attach our dangle here. I like to cover as much of the loop as possible with my pliers because that keeps it from changing shape, like if you pull it a little bit too hard. This is 24 gauge wire, so it's a little bit on the thinner side. And notice I keep turning my piece so I can keep pushing the wire in the same direction, using the same motion all the time. It takes a little bit longer to reposition the bead like that and the wire, but I like the effect that you get because you can make your coils really nice and tight and close together. Okay, and the last loop that we're going to do, there we go. So we're just going to pay attention to which way all of our loops are facing. Because I want this to face with the leaf facing front instead of like sideways, I'm going to make this last loop as well perpendicular to the loop that I made just now. Okay, so got to take your directions into account. So make a 90-degree angle. Go up, over, and around, switch to the bottom jaw. This is very repetitive. It's good practice if you need a little bit of practice with basic wire wrap. Okay. Okay, now I'm ready to wrap this shut. You can choose to attach your ear wire at this point, but I'm just going to wrap it shut and then attach my ear wire. Let's see. Coil it until you reach the top of the bead. It's going to be about 2 coils. Now you want to make sure your coils touch the top of the bead and you don't leave a piece of naked wire showing because that's going to be a weak point on your piece. So you want to make sure you cover up all of the wire that leads up to the bead. Okay, kind of tighten that up a little bit. And then we're going to attach our ear wire. So the loop on the ear wire does open. You're just going to get a flat nose plier and swivel the loop open like a door. Okay, you never want to pull your loop open because then you won't be able to get your loop shut nicely again. Okay, now we're going to hook on our dangle and close the loop. And there we have it, the Veri Peri earring. Okay, so in the kit you're going to get, you know, a pair of each type of bead, so you can actually do other things besides this style of earring. It is super cute, but it's also a very like linear style of earring. There's some other fun things that you can do with the beads that are in the kit. Let me see. Oh, and I forgot to mention that this kit is available on our website for sale, so if you're interested in it, please check out our website. It's thebeadgallery.com. You can purchase all the supplies you need here in the kit right there. Okay, and some of the other things that I'm going to show you are also available on our website, so if you like these ideas, please go check it out. We have some really cute lotus links here. These are silver plated, and if you wanted to make like a bracelet with this kit, you can totally just sort of use the same technique of wire wrapping to link the beads together. like this, and you'll probably have enough to go around your wrist. You might need to get maybe an extra kit. If not, okay, and so I'll show you what this looks like here. So I'm just going to do like one section here. So if you have like rings or links, you can use that, or even like bits of chain, you can use that in between your beads to kind of space them out. And we're doing the same technique here, basic wire wrap. Okay. And after this, I'm going to show you, if you don't have any links handy, you can make your own with wire. So we're going to go over that in just a little bit. If you wanted to do linking together, go like this, and now you have to pay attention to which way your loops are facing. Again, this one I'm going to make the loops face in the same direction, so not perpendicular, going to be in the same direction, because I want to put the next link to sit flat in there. There we go. So we're going to just basic wire wrap that. Basic wire wrap is a wonderful technique that I think everybody who likes to make jewelry should learn how to do. It is like the, pretty much if you learn how to do that, you can make almost anything you want. Earrings, necklaces, bracelets, just to link beads together or components. It's a really, really handy technique to know. And it's much more secure than doing, like, say, eye pins. Eye pins are loops that are not wrapped shut. And if you've ever had jewelry, you know, inexpensive jewelry, usually they'll connect things with eye pins. And if you get it caught on something, the loop will open up and stuff will fall off. When you do basic wire wrap like this, it takes a lot for your piece to break or fall apart. Okay, so you can make a linked bracelet like this. There we go. By just wire wrapping the components of, say, alternating your beads with the links like that. And then you can keep going, and that would be super cute. Okay, if you don't have links at home, you can actually make your own. I'm going to show you how to do that next, because I love working with wire. Okay. Oh, and one more thing is, sometimes the holes on your beads are a little bit on the big side, and say they don't fit really nicely on the head pins. You can always use a spacer bead like these. These are little silver plated daisy spacers to kind of make it more secure when you, say, wrap these beads on head pins. So you can just put them on either side of your bead. It's kind of a nice way to frame beads as well. So we have these little spacer beads that you can use to sit on either side of the bead, like a little sandwich. That's a really cute look. It makes it look more finished than just having the bead by itself. Okay, and this is a 3mm daisy. It's a really handy size to have because it's small and it won't stick out over the edges of your bead. It's just like a very small accent. Okay, which I'm going to use after I make my next link. Okay. So to make my link, I'm going to use some 20 gauge half hard sterling silver wire. Okay. I mean, you can use 20 gauge as long as it's half hard. Because this wire is on the thin side, I'm not going to use soft. I like the spring and the resistance that it'll give. If you work with thicker wire, you definitely will want to use soft. Okay, so I'm just going to cut a little piece here. 20 gauge is significantly thicker than the 24 that we were using. It's actually, these lampwork beads, because they have really big holes, you can actually fit the 20 gauge through there. We're not going to do that right now. I'm going to just shape a link with the 20 gauge wire right now and use it in my piece here. Okay, so when you work with wire and you're making shapes, you're going to want to use a bench block and a hammer. There we go. After we create our shape, we're going to want to hammer it to harden it and help it keep its shape. Okay, so I'm going to make a little leaf link. We do have this as a video on our YouTube channel as well. I don't quite recall what video it's called, but if you look up My Valentine, the video My Valentine, I believe it's one of the shapes that we cover. Okay, so I'm going to do a small leaf link. Because my wire is on the thinner side, I don't want anything to be too large, because your integrity of your piece is compromised the larger it gets. So when you work with 20 gauge, you'll want to keep your shapes fairly small. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is turn a loop at the end of my wire with my round nose plier. And this loop, I want it to be big enough so that this wire, this 20 gauge wire, will fit easily inside. That's how I'm going to close off my shape. Okay, so I made a loop. Now I'm going to make a teardrop shape, and I'm going to use my wrap and tap pliers. These are my 6-step wrap and tap pliers. I'm just going to pull it around like this. Okay, so I have a little teardrop shape here. And close to where the close to where they intersect, like right here, I'm going to turn an angle perpendicular to the direction of my loop. Okay, like so. And I'm going to trim this to about a little bit longer than the width of the flat nose plier. I'm just going to eyeball it here. Here we go. Again, cover like this. And so we're going to close off our shape by hooking that wire into my loop here. And we're going to make it shut by pulling this hook over and around the wire loop here, so it's kind of sealed shut. Okay. So I'm turning my hook. I'm going to trim it down. I think it's a little bit too long here. And if you notice, when I'm cutting my wire, the flat blade, the flat side of the cutter is always facing my piece, because that's what the side that creates the flush cut. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of curve it in just a little and squeeze. Okay, so now my piece is kind of closed off. Okay, and because I want somewhere to aim when I'm going to make a tip of my leaf, I'm going to make a little dot to about the midpoint of this teardrop shape, opposite the loop. Okay, so I have my Sharpie marker dot. And then I'm going to get the left edge of my flat nose plier is touching the dot. Okay, and I'm bracing with my thumb, and I'm going to make a V shape by turning my wrists away from me. Like this. See? And I'm bending the loop against the edge of the plier. Kind of a nice sharp angle there. Looks like a little fish. Okay, and after that, what you can do is you can give it a little bit of a sharper angle by just pressing it like this. You can also give it like a little curve at the tip by putting your flat nose plier in here right in the angle, and I'm going to roll my wrist forward like this. So you have a little leaf shape. You can also fatten up the leaf by making this section here a little bit more curved. You can put the wrap and tap plier back in there and just sort of scrunch it down, or we can get a bezel mandrel and pop it over the top. I'm not used to this one. This one is a little bit fatter than I'm used to. Just pop it over the top like this and slide it down to open it up a little bit. There you go. Let's see. You can also use one of my favorite pliers. This is the long round nose plier. And just kind of make that curve a little bit wider as well. A lot of the times when you're shaping or changing the shape of your wire form, you're going to be working the sides of the shape like this, not pinching the shape like this. You're going to be going on the inside edge and the outside edge and just sort of manipulating the wire that way. Like that. Okay, so we have a little wire leaf link here. Now I'm going to hammer it so it gives it a little bit more form. And it also hardens the shape so it doesn't distort so easily. Oops. I'm used to moving my table. So I'm going to hang the overlapping section off the edge of the bench block. And I'm going to get my mini chasing hammer and just hammer it. I want to kind of fatten up the little curved edges of my piece, so I'm going to concentrate my hammering there. So you hit it a little bit more and a little bit harder in the section you want to flatten more, and then you lighten up when you get to somewhere that you don't want to flatten quite so much. Like that. So you have like a nice taper to your curve, and it's not just a skinny straight piece of wire. It's got a little more contour to it. That's what we want. Okay. Now if you want to get super fancy, you can get some thinner wire and bind some beads along the middle of the leaf, but I think I'm going to leave it just open. Okay, again, this is 20 gauge half hard wire. I'll pull my loop just a little bit in like this. I'm going to try to hammer my loop just a little bit without hitting the overlapping sections. Oh, you will want to definitely use round wire versus half round wire, Pikake 17. Half round wire is more for binding forms and stuff. It would be like half the thickness of the gauge that we're actually using. So it's like when you think of like a little round shape, like a round shape like this, but you cut it down the middle, and so it's like half the thickness and it's super thin. I actually don't use half round wire for doing shapes like this. This is always round. I mean, if you wanted to try something fancy, you could try square wire. Square wire has a square cross section versus a round cross section. That tends to be thicker than the stated gauge of the wire, and it gives you some really nice, sharp, shiny edges that you can like really reflect a lot of light from. But yeah, the half round wire is more for like holding things together and binding it, because it's got that nice flat edge that you can lay against your piece and wrap around. Okay, good question. Whoops. Okay, So my piece is flattened. It is somewhat hardened. If I wanted to hit it more, but I didn't want to flatten it anymore, you can use the nylon hammer and you just hit it. So I'm going to concentrate hitting the tip of the wire because I do want that to be nice and hard. Okay, so what the nylon hammer does is it work hardens your wire without flattening it. And it doesn't flatten it because the nylon head is a lot softer than the wire, so it can't flatten it. Whereas the metal head of the hammer will flatten your wire because it is harder than the sterling that we're hitting. Okay, so this is just for hardening and this is for flattening and hardening. All right, so here's my little leaf link. I'm just going to use that to link these two things together. Let's move that. And I'm going to use a spacer bead so you can see what that looks like as well. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, I'm going to do a basic wire wrap one more time. Now sometimes I just, pick up any flat edge plier and I'm just going to make a right angle like this. As long as you have a right angle there, you're in business. Okay, we're going to sandwich the wire again with a round nose plier. Pull up over and around. Basic wire wrap does get quite repetitive to talk about. It's the same steps over and over, which is good to practice too. Okay, so we're going to link this on here. And I'm going to use my chain nose plier to hold it. Go around 2 times. And again, you want your coils to be nice and tight, like right next to each other and not like crawling on top of each other, unless that's the aesthetic you're going for, which sometimes it is, but in this case it's not. Okay, so I have my wire wrap loop here. Now I'm going to put a spacer bead on either side of my bead, because that's always a nice finish to it, There you go. So we have daisy spacers on either side of my bead here. And it's kind of a nice way to cushion the bead against the wire. If you notice you have problems like chipping glass beads or chipping crystals because you wrap too tight, it's kind of nice to have that little barrier sometimes between your tool, the wire, and the bead. Okay, so we're going to go up, over, and around again, just like this. Okay, now I'm going to attach my leaf link here. And so you can attach it into the loop that is holding your leaf shut, as well as on the tip of the leaf. So it can be a link. It can also be a charm if you just wanted to hang it, off the end of your earring. That could make a really cute charm ending as well. But if you wanted to do it as a link, you would just kind of use it between beads. Like this. We're going to wrap that shut. There we go. And there you go. So you can do a link like this. And then one more thing before I go today. I'm having a lot of fun here, but I'm going to show you how to do a leaf head pin. So instead of a dangle like this, I'm going to do a pin so I can hang the bead straight onto. Like there won't be any dangling going on. It'll be just straight attached to the leaf here. Okay, so it's the same idea. I have some wire. I think this will be enough to do a small leaf. You can straighten the wire if it bugs you with your nylon jaw plier like this. And you just grab it and you pull. So these are pretty awesome for that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little bit of a smaller leaf. So I'm going to go around the, step number 4 of my multi-step wrap and tap, and I'm just going to pull that into a teardrop shape like this. It can be pretty messy. It's okay if it's not neat. Okay, like this. And then the trick is to get everything sort of perpendicular to each other. So I'm going to bend this one this way, and I'm going to bend the tail up. So we have a little 90-degree angle here. I'm going to wrap that shut. And this time I'm just going to go around one time. I just want the loop to be wrapped shut. I don't want like a large layer of coils here. Trim that away. Again, this is 20 gauge half hard wire. Okay, and I'm going to tuck that down. Like this. And now I'm going to make a leaf shape with that teardrop there. And it's okay if it's a little wobbly looking, because leaves are kind of organic in nature, and you know, the less straight lines the better. Okay, I'm going to mark again the midpoint of my teardrop with my Sharpie. That's always a nice way to kind of aim where you're going to put your plier. And the Sharpie washes off really easily with either like some alcohol or soap and water. Again, I'm going to put my flat nose plier. The left edge of the plier is touching the dot that I just made. And I'm going to brace my thumb against there again and bend an angle right against the edge of the plier. Okay, just like that. So then you're going to mess around with the shape a little bit. We can make the leaf look a little bit fatter by making that straight section near the top a little more curved. So get a round nosed tool like this plier. This is a long round nose plier. And we're just going to curve it a little bit more. Like this. Flip it over. Hey, Amy. And we're going to flip it over, and we're going to puff it out just a little bit on this side as well. Again, working on the inside and outside edge of the shape, not the top and bottom of the form. Okay. A lot of it's like squeezing, just sort of pinching it and moving the plier along the edge of the piece. Okay. So once I have it kind of as the shape that I want, I'm going to make a little bend at the tip of the leaf again. So we're going to touch the edge of the plier into the tip like this and bend like that. Just a little bit. And notice that kind of pulled my leaf shape a little bit skinnier again, so we can get in there with the round nose plier and fatten everything up. Okay, there you go. And you'll want to hammer this again with your bench block. And I like the metal chasing hammer. Again, you're going to want to leave the overlapping edge off the edge of the bench block like this. You never want to hit the overlapping section with your hammer. You always want to keep it off the block. Again, I want to kind of contour this section a little bit wider. Because this is 20 gauge wire, you don't have to hit it very hard. It's really thin. Okay, so I widened out this curved area here. Now I'm going to do the opposite edge. Hi, Missouri. Thanks for joining us today. just going to hammer that a little bit. Now if I was smart, I could have left that tail without cutting it and pulled it down towards the front of my leaf, and then I could have a little vein. I did not think of that until just now, so next time I will keep that in mind. And then it'll look like a real leaf because it won't have this negative space here. So again, what you would have done is not cut the tail here. You can just leave it. I would hammer it a little bit to give it a little bit texture and some width, and then I would just pull it down in front of the leaf shape, so you have a little line of wire going down. Okay, you can try that at home and tell me how it went. Okay, once we hit that, I'm going to harden the tip of my leaf just a little bit with my nylon hammer, like so. Okay, so these are really fun. This is 20 gauge wire, so you can actually make a whole earring out of this. And if you're going to do that, because 20 gauge is thin enough to go through your ear and it's sturdy enough to keep its shape, if you wanted to make like a little earring just with the ear wire here, you can just string the bead on like this, and then we're going to make the hook part of our earring, and then you'll have like a complete earring. So we'll just put the spacer on top like this, so it has like a nice end. It's actually a really cute head pin too. Then we're going to bend at kind of a right angle, perpendicular to the plane of the leaf. So if you wanted to make this into a dangle, you would just do a wire wrap loop here, but because I'm going to make it into the actual ear wire itself. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Hi. Okay, so I'm just going to bend a little bit more than a right angle here. And then I'm going to use my wrap and tap plier. These things are the best things ever. I use it so much when I'm doing ear wires or just other kinds of wire shaping. Okay, and I'm going to do sort of a large curve. So I'm going to put it on the 6th step of the wrap and tap. I'm going to do a big curve, like so. Pull it around, and then bring it forward just a little bit. Because the 20 gauge wire is pretty springy, you're going to get some spring back, but that's expected. Okay, bring this forward just a little bit. And now this part is the part that's going to go in your ear. Okay, so we'll want to straighten this up just a little bit. And another way you can straighten wire, especially because we want to harden it here, is I'm going to put it on my bench block again. Kind of straighten the worst parts of this with the nylon jaw plier. I'm going to put it on the bench block again, and we're just going to start hammering it. If you want sort of a stylized ear wire, you can actually flatten this section here to give you kind of more of a crescent shape. So not so much the part that goes in your ear because you don't want it to be too sharp, but the front of it. Okay, so this is what the earring's looking like so far. Okay, then I want a really nice soft curve near this end of the wire, and I'm going to trim it down a little bit after I get a nice curve. So to do that, I'm going to use my large 3-step wrap and tap. If you guys are on the fence about getting these wrap and taps, let me tell you, they're the handiest thing ever. I highly recommend getting all the sizes that we carry. Well, depending on what you like to do with your wire. Because I do like large shapes and I do heavy gauge wire. I do like, I don't use this large one a lot. It's because it's kind of a big shape here, but it's really good if you want to do like ring shanks. It's great for that, like pre-forming them. It's also good for doing very large like hearts and teardrop and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to give it a little like a swinging curve out this way, and I'm going to just trim away the wire. Again, you want the flat edge of your cutter against your piece like this. There we go. I could probably hammer that a little bit more so my daisy spacer doesn't keep crawling up there. I kind of want it to stay in place. Okay. Let's go a little bit flatter. Wow, the hole on that daisy spacer is really big. Okay. So now we have our pretty much completed leaf earring here with our handmade glass bead here. This is done on 20 gauge half hard wire. Again, and before you actually stick this in your ear, I would highly recommend you get a 20 gauge cup burr and deburr the end of the wire, meaning that makes it like it's a flat edge right now. That's not necessarily the most comfortable thing going through your ear. I would round out the tip of the wire with a cup burr. We do sell those on our website as well. It would help if you had a Dremel or other kind of motorized tool that you can put the burr in, and just kind of round off the tip of the wire like that. If you lack that, you can also get a metal file and just sort of file the edge of your wire so it's not so sharp on the edges, and then it'll go through your ear nicely. Okay, so that's the leaf earring made with 20 gauge wire. Okay. This also, again, would make just a really cute charm. You can just hang it off of something if you didn't want to do the ear wire section here. Makes a nice dangle as well. Okay, and so those are some of the fun things that you can do with our Veri Peri earring kit. I hope you'll check it out on our website. It is online, available now. It's one of our newest kits that we just put up yesterday. So we have the picture of the earrings up there that you can copy the design for. And then, yeah, all the supplies are included. So please check it out. I think that that will be all for me today because that was fun, but now I need to go back to work. So thank you so much for joining me. It was really fun to play with wire with you all watching. I hope you'll check out more on our YouTube channel. We have lots to show you. And hopefully we'll be doing this again sometime next week. So until then, thank you very much. I hope you have fun with wire. Take care and happy beading. Okay, bye.